All right, we're live. So welcome back to Dapp University. So today we got a lot to cover in our live stream this week, or today. Sorry, we had a lot that's happened over the weekend. Again, we do these live streams Monday through Friday on this channel about 9:30 a.m. Central Time. Just subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications down below. You'll find out about those whenever we go live. Today we're going to look at the first piece of news that just came across my desk as I was, browsing the news and catching up on things this morning. Somebody just spent $23 million on an Ethereum transaction, a single one. Okay, I'm talking about the transaction fee itself, not the actual transfer value. So we're going to talk about that and what that could possibly be. This likely will have a news story develop around it. We're going to look at a lot of the news that's happened in the space. Like I was saying, more developments around China's ban of crypto. And a lot more. So if you're new around here, hey, I'm Gregory, and on this channel, I turn you into a blockchain master. So if that's something that you're interested in, then smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm and subscribe to this channel. And if you want to learn how to master blockchain step-by-step, start to finish, then head on over to dappuniversity.com/bootcamp to get started today. Last but not least, nothing I'm saying in these videos is designed to be financial advice, and there's lots of scammers down in the comment section below. Just ignore them. Like, I'll never give you my phone number or ask you to invest with me. All right, so we got people jumping in the chat here. We got Culture Highs, David, Nathan, Code Chab, Brad, Automatic Beats, Kaz, Independence, Marco. Welcome. All right, so let's jump into this. So I just saw this come across my desk, like I was saying, as I was reviewing the news this morning, and kind of putting together some points to talk about for our live stream today. That somebody just spent $23 million on a single Ethereum transaction fee. Okay, the fee itself, not the actual transaction amount. So this is in the last few hours. So basically what happens whenever you're sending a transaction on the network, you can specify the amount that you're sending. Let's say I want to send Ether from my account to yours. I could say, well, let's send 1 ETH, and that's about $3,000 right now. And then you have to pay the network fee to do that. Well, you can always increase that network fee really to whatever you want, as long as you have the funds. I mean, you could send your entire wallet balance as a priority fee to expedite your transaction. And we see here that $23 million was sent as this fee right here. So this is not the first time I've seen this type of thing happen on the network. And always begs the question, like, what was happening here? Was this a mistake? Was this, some other, motivation behind sending this amount of money, as a transaction fee? Something like that. So the reason I bring it up is because I've seen this happen before, and there's likely going to be some sort of story kind of evolve out of this. We're already starting to see it kind of hit some news outlets here. You can see on my screen here. Let's see. So, the Bitfinex just spent $23.7 million in fees to make a single Ethereum transaction. They're kind of going through, what happened here. So one alternate take on this is that, you're basically like just money laundering. So basically you're sending a transaction, you're paying the fee, and then you're also on the other side as a miner, reaping the reward of those fees. It's possible, but here's what I would say about that. It's like, if you really wanted to be sneaky and I want to take it to the next level, because some people automatically say, oh, it's clearly money laundering. It's not a mistake, right? Because they're just like, why would you send $23 million in a single transaction? Like, nobody's going to make that kind of mistake. Well, but you take it to the next level. Like, if you're really smart and you wanted to launder money, why wouldn't you do it in small amounts over lots of transactions where nobody would detect you? So, that's kind of the devil's advocate to that point there. But anyways, I wanted to bring it up. It's pretty interesting. This will likely, like I said, have a news story unfold around it. So let me know what you think down in the comment section below. Is this an actual mistake? Is there somewhat of a motivation behind it? What's your explanation? So this is a nice tax write-off. Okay, so let's actually continue on with what's been happening in the crypto space. I want to talk about some other stuff, but this just kind of flew across my desk, so I want to bring it up and share it with you all, because like I said, I've seen this happen before, and there's going to be lots of kind of arguing about this online, like what's the truth here. So I figured I'd bring it here first. So let's look what's going on with the crypto markets, talk about the China ban. Look what's happening in the Ethereum space with layer 2s. So we're seeing more kind of develop on the China ban of crypto. So if you didn't catch the news last week, basically, China banned all cryptocurrency transactions for its citizens. Okay, so we've seen a slew of bans from China around some activity of cryptocurrency. We've seen this for years. It's almost like every single year there's a handful of these come out, and they all kind of have different language or have different, implications. Earlier this year we saw a pretty big crackdown on mining in China. Basically, China banned all Bitcoin mining. I think it was just Bitcoin. There might be other crypto. I can't remember if it applied to more cryptos than just Bitcoin, but I remember it was very, very big and significant for Bitcoin because it pushed a lot of mining offshore. Hash rate for Bitcoin fell significantly for a while, has subsequently recovered to healthier levels. But now we're seeing China basically crack down on, all cryptocurrency transactions. And we're starting to see that actually, really the tentacles start to dig in deep. We're starting to see Chinese exchange, I always pronounce this wrong, Huobi, I hope I'm saying that right, to seize all mainland China user accounts. So they're just going to cut them off. Okay. So this is actually starting to roll out. Honestly, I think at the end of the day, I think the China ban is not going to be that significant for crypto markets on the long term. I've had lots of people message me about this, like people who are, normies or no coiners, or maybe people who just got into crypto recently, who don't know that much about the space, who know me personally. And this kind of sent shockwaves through a lot of them, at least a lot of ones who are watching the news, like, hey, what do you think about this? And of course, they don't know that China has banned crypto in some form or fashion, probably about a dozen times before this. But it's FUD that just kind of works. You know what I mean? It works for panicking the market, for people who have been here for the long term. I don't really think it's that significant. I think we're already starting to see some recovery from the China FUD, right? So let's take a look at the markets here. If I can get this to actually size correctly on my window. Yeah, here we go. So anyways, Bitcoin got back above $44,000 yesterday. Ether back above $3,100, almost kissing $3,200. So, I think we're on the road to recovery here. I don't have firm timelines. So the things to think about, in the relatively near term, as I am still seeing more kind of rumors of ETFs. Okay, again, these are just rumors. I don't have official sources on these types of things. This could be one of those things that they just gets repeated over and over again, and maybe it's really not that big of a deal. Not that the implication would be a big a deal, but whether the actual event is true. But we see a big laundry list of potential ETF approvals for Bitcoin in October. So I'm just going to wait and see if that happens. So if you're not familiar with what that is, basically it's an exchange-traded fund where now people in more traditional or legacy finance can actually trade Bitcoin, get exposure to it through an ETF, an exchange-traded fund. This has pretty significant implications for retirement accounts, all that type of stuff. There could be tax-advantaged ways where people could buy Bitcoin. There's lots of reasons why people might want to get exposure to it this way, rather than buying it, just on Coinbase or a Gemini, whatever, or on their phone with a debit card. They might want to get exposure to this way. It brings more legitimacy to the space, and I could see that actually being a pretty big catalyst for a next big leg up in crypto. So we'll have to just wait and see. Like I said, they're totally rumors, but that being said, I don't think that crypto needs an ETF in order for it to prosper and succeed and continue on this parabolic uptrend that I see that it's on right now. So I'm still cautiously bullish on the entire space in terms of the actual cryptocurrency prices themselves, because fundamentally nothing has changed in terms of the adoption. And actually, speaking of adoption, we can take a look at this right here. So we're talking about decentralized applications, or dApps, and actual utilization of DeFi applications. I want to take a look at dYdX, which has had some pretty impressive usage statistics, okay? So dYdX is a decentralized derivatives platform, okay? We talked about dYdX a lot on this channel, inside the Blockchain Mastery Program, especially around the flash loan trainings, because they were a pretty early flash loan provider. But basically, dYdX has seen some pretty significant adoption as it's rolled out its layer 2 scaling solution with Starkware. So today, I think this was yesterday. No, this was today, 27th. Yeah, today. dYdX is doing more trade volume than every other DEX combined. That's pretty crazy. Okay. Oops, sorry. I accidentally clicked on a sidebar link. Every other DEX combined. We also saw a tweet from Antonio here. I don't have it saved, but he was previously at Coinbase, and he's saying, he left Coinbase and eventually, started dYdX. And I believe yesterday, or maybe it's today, recently, dYdX actually surpassed one-day volume of Coinbase. So it's pretty significant. Okay, shows you decentralization. People want it. Okay, people want DeFi. They want scalable DeFi, and that's exactly what dYdX is doing. Of course, the dYdX token airdrop was pretty major. We had people making insane amounts of money from that particular airdrop. Lots of Americans missed out on it because we're not allowed to use dYdX through the UI early. We've seen a lot of that bubble up into the conversation with the SEC about what's going on right now. We have all these sort of guise of investor protection. I understand, one side of that argument, but the other side of that argument as well, you're also potentially cutting off people from life-changing money because you're preventing them from using products that could, get VC-level returns or more without having to be an accredited investor, without having to know a bunch of people, without having to be, an insider, so to speak. And that's why, Web3 is important. So anyways, with dYdX and layer 2, this really shows you what's possible whenever you have these massive incentives in place for people to make money, right? That's what dYdX is doing, is basically allowing people to make money. You have that incentive in place, and then you also have you remove this scaling bottleneck, right? You remove this bottleneck of low throughput, few transactions per second, and high costs. Okay, and whenever you go those way down, and you actually have security built on top of something like Ethereum, for example, then there could be massive demand for something like that. So I'm super bullish on what's going to happen with Ethereum Layer 2s long term. I haven't been talking as much about Starkware, stuff like that, but it's pretty impressive what they've been able to do with dYdX. So we definitely will keep up to date with that. You can actually see on the list here. Yeah, I actually don't see it right now. It's okay. So let's look at more about Web3, because like I was saying, this you're seeing a success story from a product that's found product market fit, that's got scalability, and now you're seeing what can happen when that product actually takes off. And at the core of the app is the value proposition itself. The key value proposition of ability to make money, be able to do it in a permissionless, let's say permissionless, not if you're outside the United States, permissionless, decentralized way. And so other products that offer these same kinds of benefits in the future and also achieve scalability, you can just see what the upside potential is. And so I want to bring up this tweet thread that I saw on Web3, because what we're doing right now with DeFi is Web3, okay? But it's niched down to the finance use case. But Web3 extends beyond the finance use case to the social use case, to the whatever use case. And so we're going to look at this tweet thread from Chris Dixon here on Web3 and why it matters, because I thought it's pretty good points in here. So because the internet's gone through this evolution of like Web 1.0, where you basically had, static websites that didn't do very much, to Web 2.0, which, had all these websites that had its added behavior where you can register as a user and have like fully featured web apps like Facebook or like YouTube that you're watching right now, rich multimedia experience. A lot of these apps were free, but the incentive structure there is give people free stuff so you can take their data and do stuff with that, and then basically destroy user privacy. So that's Web 2.0, and then Web 3 tries to fix a lot of that stuff and bring the internet back to a different business model. So Web 1, roughly 1990 to 2005, was about open protocols that were decentralized and community governed. Okay, most of the value accrued to the edges of the network, users and builders. This is also really important. Who creates the value and where does the value ultimately go to? Web 2, roughly 2005 to 2020, was about siloed, centralized services run by corporations. Most of the value accrued to a handful of companies like Google, Apple, Amazon, and Facebook. We are now at the beginning of the Web3 era, which combines the decentralized community governance ethos of Web 1 with the advanced modern functionality of Web 2. That's what we're getting to with scaling, for sure. Web 3 is an internet owned by the builders and users, orchestrated with tokens. So he says, thanks to this person for the definition. So why does Web 3 matter? First, let's look at the problems with centralized platforms. He wrote more about this in 2018. Centralized platforms follow a predictable life cycle. At first, they do everything they can to recruit users and third-party complements like creators, developers, and businesses. They do this to strengthen their network effect. We talk about network effect a lot on this channel. Basically, the more users you have on a platform, you have an exponential amount of value, because it's like a telephone network. The more people you have to talk to, the more valuable that network is. As a platform moves up the S-curve adoption, the power over users and third parties steadily grows. So when they hit the top of the S-curve, their relationships with the network participants change from positive sum to zero sum. That's a significant shift. To continue growing, this requires extracting data from users and competing with former partners. That's what I was talking about before. Basically, offer you all this free stuff in order to collect data. Famous examples of this are Microsoft versus Netscape, Google, Yelp, Facebook, Zynga, Twitter, all these different people. For third parties, the transition from cooperation to competition feels a lot like a bait and switch. This is actually pretty common. Over time, the best entrepreneurs, developers, and investors have learned not to build on top of centralized platforms to stifle innovation. And basically, he talks about how Web3 can fix this. Basically, Web3 ownership and control is decentralized. Users and builders can own pieces of the internet services by owning tokens, both non-fungible NFTs and fungible, just like any cryptocurrency you might have. So tokens give user property rights, the ability to own a piece of the internet. NFTs give users the ability to own objects, okay? NFTs exist on top of blockchains. Blockchains are special computers, anyone accessing my own. We know that watching this channel. Anyways, it's you can go look at the rest of the tweet thread. I won't sit here and read the entire thing. I'll put a link to it in the live replay. So if you check the live chat replay, it's right there. It should be next to the timestamp on this video. But it's a pretty cool thread on sort of understanding how the internet works now and how Web3 can totally change this, okay? So definitely check that out. Maybe I'll make a separate video about that particular thing to understand, so you can understand it better. I thought it was pretty interesting about how he's talking about the business relationships and how they change over time, from cooperation to competition, from positive sum to zero sum. It's interesting, though. I mean, you can still. Here's the other thing. I'm very realistic. I don't think Web3 is going to fix every single problem that's ever, occurred on the internet. You're going to get a set of new problems for sure. The whole point is there's no real solution at the end of the day. You're trying to find the best trade-off that you can possibly get. And in my opinion, there's a high likelihood that the trade-off offered by Web3 is superior to what we have now, the Web 2 in many cases. But it's interesting what he was talking about with going from positive sum to zero sum. There's actually some interesting game theory on that, where, you can play positive sum, you play positive sum games at the beginning so that the pie gets bigger, and then the game theory almost is to essentially switch from positive sum to zero sum, because if you play positive sum games at the beginning, the pie gets bigger, and then there's a bigger pie for you to take if you play the zero sum game. So I think that can still exist in Web3. You see this a lot with people with Trojan horse rhetoric about, oh, it's all just like cooperate and get along, and the future is multi-chain and all ships rise and this is good for crypto. But at the end of the day, they're gonna want to try to pump the space up and then capture as much as they possibly can for themselves. Like, don't be so naive to think that's not going to happen. The greed and selfishness that exists in a Web 2.0 world will definitely still exist in a Web 3.0 world. Human nature is not magically going to change overnight. But that being said, I'm still super bullish on Web3. You just have to view it with very realistic expectations. So speaking of Web3 and what's possible with it, I thought this was pretty cool. I saw this come out yesterday from Raoul Pal. Talk about him a lot on this channel, especially a lot of his valuation frameworks for crypto and where he thinks this space is headed long term. Definitely a super insightful guy with a strong track record for being right about a lot of things. And so anyways, he was talking about this. So he's a CEO of Real Vision Finance, and they created a bot that basically, I believe it surveys people about their crypto weightings in their portfolios, and then it creates a model to actually create a portfolio based on what other people said. So he's talking about like the kind of like a hive mind, like you crowdsource people's weightings, then you create a portfolio based on their responses. So what he's saying is, I'm fascinated with the hive mind Real Vision bot crypto portfolio based on community-only weightings. It has consistently outperformed the market. So his view is that community is smarter than any individual, as we all have access to quality information. We see the same in the Real Vision bot for macro. The hive mind tends to outperform. This is the community survey. So the bot portfolio is a quant model based on experts on Real Vision. So I have a strongly held view that the traditional view of markets, give your money to experts, has now changed to together we are the experts, as the movement towards Web 3.0 and communities with open access to information has super empowered community decision making. All right, that's pretty crazy. This trend has only started, but is going to totally upend decision-making hierarchies, not just in finance, but business models overall. It is early days yet, but this trend is the beginning of even more disruption. So combining communities with AI and giving information back to the community in order to enable better decision-making is powerful, and the antithesis of extractive business model of existing platforms that use AI to monetize your attention. So that's a pretty crazy use case for Web3. Basically, you take everybody's collective intelligence and you, without them even knowing, they participate in making decisions that actually positively benefit them and everyone who participates. It changes the incentive structure. You give information to us, and instead of us just taking that information and ripping you off without you knowing about it, like unless you read the terms and conditions, then we're just going to like pay you back, and you're going to reap the benefit of that value based on the information you gave us, rather than us just extracting value from you without you really knowing about it. So I thought that's pretty crazy. And it's pretty interesting. It stands to reason because you see this idea come up in the conversation of economics. And I'm no expert in macroeconomics. I understand the basics. But basically, the sort of idea when you're talking about free markets for sure is that, you know, a market is made up of multiple participants that, you know, possess this aggregate of mundane knowledge that outweighs any insight from any central group. Okay, so it's, you know, you see this come up a lot in the commentary on like centrally planned economies versus free markets, right? But part of one of the big arguments in favor of a free market is you have all these individuals who understand the need of individuals at a very granular, detailed level. And when you're talking about, you know, thousands and millions of people like that, it's impossible for any like small group to possess that amount of information, even if they're highly specialized and highly effective experts. They still lack the perspective and the understanding about what millions of people are going to do on an individual basis and how that actually adds up into the aggregate. And we're seeing that played out here. So let's see if we got any questions in the chat here. How do builders make money if it's decentralized? I mean, the objective is to become a monopoly. That's not totally true. I mean, builders make money with lots of ways. I mean, protocols essentially pay people who created it through fees. Do you think it's worth registering smart contract function names for MetaMask? I think so. Let's see here. Someone says, will ETH 2.0 see release this year potentially? I don't think so. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. I doubt it. So I think we're talking more probably Q1 2022. I mean, it's end of the year's pretty soon on the grand scheme of things. Like September's almost over. We're about to enter into Q4. I don't think we're going to see a merge happen in 2021. I haven't really held that expectation for very long. Like maybe in 2020, we were thinking we might see it in 2021. But it's one of those things that's an insane coordination effort to try to get that pulled off. Yeah, I think for months and months and months now, my expectation has been more like Q1 2022. So I still have no idea what Web 3.0 really means, but I watch more videos every day to try to sort it out. So you can think about it this way. So Web 3.0 is an internet powered by blockchains, where you actually can create an internet of value, and it has new business models that are literally impossible any other way. It's a decentralized web where you can store value that's shared across multiple people, and that changes the business models where you can actually create these positive sum gains where he's talking about, where you can actually get paid to participate because you're providing value and you're participating in something where that value can actually accrue back to you for your participation rather than somebody just taking something from you and then, participating that way. So that's a shift from Web 2.0, where a lot of what you do on the internet right now is just free. If you get on Facebook, you register for Facebook, you get a free account, you get to talk to all these people, you get to see their food pictures, all this type of stuff. But then you're tracked everywhere online, and every single thing you do on the internet where your Facebook pixel tags you, they're collecting information about you and basically using it to, sell it to advertisers who want to advertise you on their platform, off their platform. That's the same business model with so many other free things on the internet. Your privacy is basically nothing. It doesn't even exist on Web 2.0. So it's very extractive. A lot of people don't even know that this is the case. That's sort of the incentive structure with Web 2.0, and Web 3.0 can really flip that upside down. Of course, we have public transactions on a public blockchain. I get that, but there's definitely different business models that are possible, like I was talking about a second ago. What happens as China and India only allow NFTs? I don't know what's going to happen with NFTs with the countries that are banning crypto, because how are you going to get an NFT? You got to buy crypto and make a transaction to get one. All right, everybody, that's all I got for today. As always, smash that like button down below for the YouTube algorithm. Subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. That really helps these videos out so that more people can learn about blockchain. And if you're as fascinated with this technology as I am, you want to get your hands dirty, how can you get started today? Well, you go to my YouTube homepage. You can find my free courses there. They're like Udemy courses, but they're totally free. And if you like those and you want to take the next step, or hey, maybe you want to take a master shortcut entirely, I can show you how to become a blockchain master step-by-step start to finish over at dapuniversity.com/bootcamp. You don't have to be an expert to get started today. I've helped people with zero coding experience become real-world blockchain developers in a matter of months. So that's all I've got. And until next time, thanks for watching Dapp.